Your paycheck arrives a few days later. Part of it is already gone. You remember paying rent and buying groceries, but somehow more money disappeared than you expected. That missing money did not vanish. It became expenses. And expense is money you spend, owe, or use to pay for something. That something might be necessary. It might be optional. It might happen every month. It might happen only once. But the basic idea is simple. Income is money coming in. Expenses are money going out. In the last lesson, you learned that not every dollar entering your account is income. A paycheck may be income, a loan is not. A transfer from savings is not new income. A reimbursement is money returning to you. Now we are looking at the other direction. What causes money to leave? Imagine it is the first week of the month. Your paycheck is $3,200. The money enters your checking account, then rent is due. You pay $1,200. Your remaining balance is $2,000. Next, you spend $450 on groceries. Now you have $1,550 left. You pay $180 for electricity, water, and internet. Now you have $1,370. You spend $160 on gas. Now you have $1,210. You pay $90 for your phone bill. Now you have $1,120. So far, nothing mysterious happened. You simply used money for several expenses. But many people only notice the biggest expenses. They remember rent. They remember the car payment. They remember the electric bill. They forget the smaller ones. A $6 coffee, a $14 lunch, a $22 subscription, a $9 delivery fee, a $35 online purchase. One small amount does not feel serious, but several small amounts can become a large expense category. Let us calculate it. Suppose you buy a $6 coffee 5 times in 1 week. 6 times 5 equals 30, that is $30 per week. Now multiply $30 by 4 weeks. 30 times 4 equals 120. That is $120 per month. The coffee is not automatically a bad expense. The point is that small repeated expenses can become larger than they feel. Do you know which small expense repeats most often in your life? Expenses usually fall into a few simple groups. The first group is fixed expenses. A fixed expense is an amount that stays mostly the same from one payment period to the next. Rent is often fixed. A car payment may be fixed. A monthly phone plan may be fixed. A subscription may be fixed. The amount does not always stay exactly the same, but it is usually predictable. The second group is variable expenses. A variable expense changes. Groceries may cost $350 one month and $500 the next. Gas may rise when you drive more. Electricity may be higher during a very hot or cold month. Dining out may change, depending on your choices and schedule. Variable does not mean unimportant. It only means the amount can move. The third group is irregular expenses. An irregular expense does not happen every month. A car repair, a medical bill, a yearly membership fee, a birthday gift, a school expense, a holiday trip. These expenses can feel like surprises, but some of them are predictable if you look far enough ahead. A car may need maintenance, insurance may renew, holidays return every year. The exact amount may be uncertain. The fact that some expense will happen is often not a surprise. This distinction matters. If you only plan for monthly bills, irregular expenses can repeatedly disrupt your budget. Imagine you earn $4,500 per month. Your regular monthly expenses are $3,900. It looks like you have $600 left, but your car insurance bill of $1,200 is due every 6 months. If you ignore it until the bill arrives, 1 month suddenly feels impossible. A better approach is to divide the future bill into smaller monthly amounts. Take $1,200, divide it by 6 months. 1,200 divided by 6 equals 200. That means the insurance cost is really about $200 per month. During that 6-month period, you may pay it only twice a year, but the cost belongs to every month leading up to the bill. Once you see that, the monthly picture changes. Your regular expenses are not really $3,900. They are closer to $4,100 when you include the insurance amount. Your true monthly leftover is closer to $400. That is a more realistic number. If this is the first time an annual bill has started looking like a monthly expense, subscribe. Your future budget is already becoming less surprised. There is another useful distinction. Some expenses are needs, others are wants. A need supports basic life, safety, health, work, or important responsibilities. Housing, food, basic transportation, utilities, necessary medicine. A want improves comfort, convenience, entertainment, or enjoyment. A premium streaming service. A restaurant meal, a newer phone when the current one still works, a more expensive apartment than you need. But this is not always a perfect line. The same expense can be a need for one person and a want for another. A car may be necessary if you live where public transportation is limited. For someone else, a car upgrade may be optional. Internet may be necessary for remote work. A faster premium plan may be optional. Childcare may be essential for a working parent. Someone without children does not have that expense. That is why personal finance is personal. The goal is not to judge every purchase. The goal is to understand what each expense is doing in your life. Ask 3 questions. What did I pay for? How often does this expense happen? Do I have control over the amount? Those questions help you organize expenses without shame. There is also a difference between an expense and a transfer. Never. Suppose you move $300 from checking to savings. Money left your checking account, but you still own the money. It moved to another account. That is not the same as paying $300 for groceries. A transfer changes where your money is stored. An expense uses money to pay for something. This difference is important when you review your bank activity. If you count transfers as expenses, you may think you spent more than you actually did. If you ignore real expenses, you may think you spent less. Correct labels create a clearer financial picture. Now consider debt payments. Suppose you pay $400 toward a loan. Part of that payment may reduce the amount you owe. Another part may be interest. Interest is the cost of borrowing money. From your checking account, the full $400 leaves for your monthly cash flow. It is still money going out. But later, when you study debt in more detail, you will learn why the principal and interest portions matter. For now, the beginner level lesson is simple. If money leaves your account to pay a bill, purchase, fee, service, debt payment, or obligation, it affects your expenses. And your available money expenses are not automatically. Bad rent gives you housing, groceries give you food. Insurance may protect you from a larger financial loss. A course may help you build a skill. A family trip may create an important experience. The question is not whether all spending should stop. The question is whether your spending matches your priorities and your income. 2 people can spend the same amount for very different reasons. One person may spend $200 on transportation because it is required for work. Another may spend $200 on rides because they prefer convenience. The dollar amount is the same. The purpose is different. This is why understanding expenses requires context. It also requires honesty, not harshness, not guilt, just honesty. Many people avoid reviewing expenses because they expect to feel judged, but the numbers are not judging you. They are showing you what happened. If a month was expensive because of medical care, that is information. If a month was expensive because you help family, that is information. If a month was expensive because of several unplanned purchases, that is also information. Information gives you choices. Shame usually does not. So what can you do after this video? Open your bank app. Look at the last 7 days. Do not try to fix anything yet. Simply list every amount that left your account. Write the name of the expense. Write the amount. Then label each item. Fixed, variable, irregular, transfer. You can also add need or want, if that distinction helps. For example, rent, $1,200. Fixed, need groceries, $112. Variable, need streaming service, $18. Fixed, want, gas, $45. Variable, need transfer to savings, $100. Transfer, car repair, $280. Irregular, need. Now total only the actual expenses. Do not include the transfer to savings as spending. Add the remaining amounts. 1,200 plus 112 equals 1,312. Add 18. That becomes 1,330. Add 45. That becomes 1,375. Add 280. The total actual expenses are $1,655. The $100 savings transfer is separate. You still own that money. This exercise helps you answer a more useful question than, why am I always broke? The better question is, where did my money go? That question has an answer. A common mistake is to focus only on cutting expenses. Cutting can help, but sometimes the problem is not careless spending. Housing may be expensive, medical costs may be high, childcare may be necessary, income may be unstable, a family emergency may have changed the month. Good financial education should help you understand the problem before blaming you for it. Sometimes an expense can be reduced, sometimes it cannot. Sometimes the best solution is increasing income. Sometimes it is planning earlier. Sometimes it is changing one repeated habit. Sometimes it is simply surviving a difficult period without making the situation worse. Your first job is not to create the perfect budget. Your first job is to see the expenses clearly. Here are the 3 ideas to remember. First, an expense is money used to pay for a purchase, bill, fee, service, debt, payment, or obligation. Second, expenses can be fixed, variable, or irregular. Third, a transfer between your own accounts is not the same as an expense, because you still own the money. If you can now tell the difference between spending and simply moving your own money, subscribe. Your checking account finally has a translator. At the beginning, part of your paycheck seemed to disappear. Now you know it did not disappear. It moved into rent, groceries, bills, transportation, subscriptions, repairs, and every other expense in your life. The next lesson is, what is cash flow? You now understand money coming in and money going out. But what happens when you compare both sides? And how can two people with the same income end each month with completely different results?